Alright, it's DBJ, and we're going to talk about super builds. You know, characters with all 18s except a 3 in charisma. Power gamey player character sheets that are like 3 pages, double-sided, single-spaced with magic items and feats out the wazoo. Those kind of things. Not specifically talking about how to build them and not really critiquing why they exist, but how a super build would exist in the world. And they're actually, because I like to look at both sides of things. Anyone who knows me knows I end my videos with create, don't destroy. And so this video is specifically talking about the creative aspects of super builds. And I'm going to mention a couple of things in multimedia where we see super builds and how they can have an impact in the game and how you can use them to be more creative and use those elements. And those people who make super builds, one-offs, one-note characters, how they're able to develop them. So anyway, a super build. The idea of a super build is that a character is created that is the epitome of their focus. Although there is one other type of super build. So let me describe some of these super builds. That would be the perfect archer, the perfect swordsman, the perfect hand-to-hand fighter, the most powerful wizard, spellcaster, and then hyper-focusing on one particular thing. My character is the best dual weapon wielding fighter in the world. My character is a polearm fighter, and anytime I pick up a staff or a spear, I kick ass. I am an archer. I can fire an arrow a mile and a half away and hit my target every single time. And oh, by the way, all my arrows are like explosive, deadly, passing through walls, hitting people in the eye, turning them, making petrified, all kinds of, spell effects in them. And okay. The other type of super build is the perfect jack of all trades. I not only have a laundry list of skills, but my laundry list of skills is, each skill on my laundry list is better than everybody else's skill at doing that thing. I'm better than the rogue. I'm more intelligent than the wizard. I fight better than the fighter. I am just all around the best jack of all trades there is, and I really don't need anybody. All right. Okay, so you get the point. Super builds, right? Well, being creative and me being primarily a role player, well, how does a super build fit into the world? Well, one of the things brought up by Ander in a recent video of his talked about 18 strength being awesome in D&D. And it made me think about all the 6 basic stats and how it seems sometimes that we just ignore the 6 basic stats. So let's think about the 6 basic stats in real life, okay? We've all gone to school, grade school, high school, college. We work with people. And sometimes we know somebody who seems to be just great at everything. They eat whatever they want and they don't gain weight. They never seem to get sick. They are brilliant and come up with great ideas that we always go, oh, damn, I had that on the tip of my tongue. But they always come up with these great ideas in meetings, man. They seem to luck up with the best schedules. They're great with the ladies, or if they're a lady, they just seem to have this weird charisma around guys, and you're just scratching your head like, man, everything, their style of fashion is just awesome. They look good in everything. When on their worst day, they look better than me struggling for an hour and a half to look good on my best. These are those people that, for good or bad, and many times they can be difficult to hate when you know them, but when you don't know them, it's just like, and Hollywood and most of our favorite movies over the last 50 years are filled with these people. And it's because they are the one in a million individuals. They are those people that you love to hate. They are the good-looking, intelligent, bright, charismatic, fashionable, always seem to say the right things. When the wind blows, their hair blows in a perfect cowlick part right down their head. They are these people. And when we create characters, let's see, 16, 15, 14, 13, 18, 18, 14. Dude, you're one of those people. You are one of those. And a lot of us geeky types, when we go to school, we didn't like those people. I mean, let's be honest. It wasn't on purpose. And it could be a little closed-minded, but you know, they were the popular kids. They were the jocks. They were these people that they didn't just have one stat that was good. They had a lot of stats that were good. You know, it's the quarterback of the football team. You know, you got your big guy, you got your fast guy, and then you had the quarterback who was like, you know, he smiled and could just melt people's hearts. Teachers loved them. They could stand up in front of a class. They were never nervous speaking to the public. And we just felt awkward around them. And in some ways, we didn't like those people, for good or bad. You know, they kind of got under your skin. Why are they always better at things than I am? This is before we even get in the character class. Your stats have an effect on quote-unquote, the public that you interact with. When you have a high charisma, you know, more money, more problems. It's here's some rope to hang yourself with. When your character's too good, sometimes people don't like that. When you're a low-level fighter with high stats, you are a threat to superiors. Here's this guy coming. Why has this guy always got the best ideas? He leads the troops better than I am. I don't want this guy sitting behind me. He's going to come up the ladder and surpass me and make me look stupid. Okay? Sometimes jealousy and animosity can come about through that. But there's the opposite effect as well. Those of us that are brilliant, us, and I say us as role players, those of us that are creative, sometimes there's a following that happens as well. And that following can get obsessive. You get the paparazzi. You get obsessive fans. You get people who think that somehow because you are gifted, you are better than everyone else. And they seek to emulate you. They seek to place you at a higher level. And so we have these magazines where we see these famous people who are brilliant and intelligent, and then people get upset when they're picking their nose, or they're eating a candy bar, or they've gained 20 pounds, or they leave a text message or a verbal message, or they Twitter something that's inappropriate. And, you know, especially with like politicians and those in the public eye, and we want to rip them a new one. How dare they say that they wish their dad was dead or something? How dare they, you know, get drunk in public and vomit? How dare I can't believe they wore sweatpants outside or something like this. And you're going, well, hell, you do the exact same things. You pick your nose and you wear sweatpants outside and you get drunk just every other weekend. What makes them any different? You know, who cares? When you were a kid, you used to say you hated people, you hated your own family members all the time for like 2 years straight. You know, they're just regular people. So even before you get into character class, stats have a huge impact on the game. So use that. And don't be upset when the game master uses that for you or against you. So if you're a 3rd level wizard amongst 8th to 15th level wizards, and you're the person with an 18 intelligence, and they ask your opinion above all these other wizards because you're so brilliant, yeah, they're going to get a little pissed off at you. All right. Another thing is that are about legendary actions and bardic tales and things of in combat and magic, and to not lose the awe of combat and tales and magic. So when a player character rolls a 20 and places their dagger through the ogre's eye and takes him out, the rogue slips behind him and takes him out, the fighter cuts him off at the knees, the wizard casts a fireball spell or even a burning hand spell and incinerates, the army or something, that word of that spreads. There is an awe that the public would see when, these super build characters do things. And those rumors should spread like wildfire, for good or bad. A fighter that slaughters an army may be praised in one land and then feared in another. It's the idea of, Brad Pitt playing Achilles in the movie Troy. He was known as the man killer. And there was kind of like this awe about him. His mom is a goddess, and the only thing he knows how to do well is kill people. Let's get him on our side. He can kill people. But then the average person is like, I don't want to talk to that dude. He kills people. And allowing the super build character to become as big as their mythology, and allowing that mythology to grow in that game setting, and almost forcing that player to have to live up to it or to denounce it and say, hey, I'm good, but I'm not that good. When the third level PCs do something so heroic that the community is like, hey, you have to take out the dragon, and the PCs are going, we know we can't take out dragons at third level. There's no way we can do this. But the public's like forcing them, like prodding them with their pitchforks, like, go up to the mountaintop and get rid of the dragon. And the players are like, we can't do that. We don't have that power. And they're going, what do you mean? You just don't want to do it. You have the power to do it. We've heard of all these tales of you burning out, hordes of goblins and stuff, and backstabbing ogres. What do you mean you just don't want to? You don't like us. You want to see us die. You're just selfish. How much gold do you want? You want to take all of our gold? You just want our nation to fall down. And the player characters are going, well, hell, maybe our legends have grown much bigger than what we're able to do. But lastly, multimedia things, right? With super builds. There are actually quite a few instances, strangely enough, of power gamed characters. One of my favorite movies is Equilibrium. And I know you guys, if you're geeky enough, you know Equilibrium. And if you don't know it, Christian Bale movie, see it on Netflix, you gotta see it. Don't pay for it, get it for free, but you gotta see it. It is a gunfight movie to on the level of Wanted with Angelina Jolie. You gotta see it. But anyway, cult movie, great thing, but in the movie, essentially the Grammaton clerics are super builds. They are martial artists, gunfighters, using pistols like a martial artist would use guns. And there's no bones about it. They're experts. Let's take a look at Jet Li's Once Upon a Time series as Wong Fei Hong. Wong Fei Hong in Hong Kong cinema was a super build. He was an expert martial artist, period. He was the best martial artist ever. He's also a doctor as well. So he had a bunch of skills. But he was a super build. You have a lot of gunfight, Western gunfighter movies where the best gunfighter in the West goes out and retires, or the best gunfighter goes around challenging others. A series known as Lone Wolf and Cub, and it's been done plenty of ways. Samurai idea where an expert samurai, and all he knows is the sword. That's all he knows. Comes back, and I know I'm editing this horribly, but comes back to a village, sees a lone child. He's got two choices. Take the kid with him or kill him. Because he's just like, I don't know how to raise a kid. Whatever. But there's a survivor. So what am I going to do? So he sticks a toy on one side of the child and his sword on the other side of the child, equidistance away from either. And basically allows the fates to decide the child's life or death. And so says to himself, if the child goes towards the toy, I will pick up the sword and kill the child. If the child goes towards the sword, I will pick up the child and take him with me. And the child starts walking towards the toy, and then is distracted by a glint of light and looks back at the sword, and then crawls towards the sword just before Lone Wolf picks it up. And so it's the story of how this hardened warrior begins to soften around and teach lessons to this child. And there's a Jet Li story version of it where Jet Li's lessons are so harsh that he realizes that the child is taking his lessons to heart so much that he's learning to have to loosen up for the sake of the child's life. And so super build characters can learn a lot if the player character is willing to delve deep into those things the super build can't do. For example, you make a character that is a swordsman. Well, my character can't cook food. My character's not very good in social interactions. My character's not good in the softer arts, and so is awkward around women, doesn't know how to, use a knife or fork, doesn't know how to dress, and is allowed to say, hey, dude, take it easy. Put the sword down, relax. We're going to go into a social setting, and we're going to dress up nice. And doing the fun, putting on 5 different outfits and standing in front of the mirror till they finally find the right one. Or sitting at the dinner table and picking up the chicken leg before someone said grace and everyone looks at them, and, it has to, step back a little bit and, stop eating with their fingers or something, and having a little fun with it. There's also the act of the super build, especially the jack of all trades super build, the Swiss Army knife, that ends up having to step back from the spotlight so that others can do for themselves, for good or bad, and letting them fail and succeed on their own, because sometimes that is what people need on their own. It is the idea of letting someone who has received a traumatic injury or is handicapped succeed and fail on their own because they don't need someone to help them. And allowing that, being strong enough to admit that you need to be weak enough to allow someone else to express their strength. I hope that came out correctly. I'm going to end it on that note and the idea of a world of super builds. Just be creative with it. If you are a power gamer, if you are a min-maxer, if you're a munchkin that likes to, to break the rules and build these things, at a minimum, try some of these techniques. Or if you know someone who's acting this way and does these things, give them some of those techniques, and so that you can incorporate their personality and what they want into your game, and just to be inclusive with other people's ideas before kicking people to the curb. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you just don't get along. You're just like, dude, you're just ruining my setting. Or that player character is like, look, I'm about my super builds, and all we're doing is Downton Abbey or Upstairs Downstairs. This isn't a BBC, British thing. I don't want to do any of this, dude. I just want to fight some crap, man. I don't want to do all this. And so sometimes if you can't incorporate those things together, you might have to step aside and say, okay, our playing styles don't meet. But open up a little bit, start to find some middle ground. You can have some great creation and reduce the destruction of both the game GM and storyteller's world, and reduce the destruction of the ability for players to play the game and to grow and to expand. So thanks for your attention, guys, and as always, thank you very much for even considering my opinions on anything. And I hope that through my many videos that I am giving some form of inspiration for anyone. That's all I hope for.